Hello, hockey fans! Yes, a new NHL season is upon us, and that means it's time for another multi-part NHL player biography. Recently, a friend of mine on Facebook from the USA asked, Bill, how come you only cover Canadian players? Don't you think it's time to cover players from elsewhere? And I thought about it. He was absolutely right. My American friend made a great point. And that's why on this series I'm covering a man from Finland, the great Teemu Selanne. Yes, my format for many videos on this channel, I should say, and concepts are about to change. Mainly, however, with the player bios, which will have more parts, so the videos will be a bit shorter and easier to watch. I'll also be doing the same for some of my football videos from my Road to the Big Game Super Bowl series. Anatomy of a season, however, for hockey will remain the same, as they do garner their most views on this channel. And now, let's get right to it. Teemu Selanne was born on July 3rd, 1970 in the nation's capital of Helsinki, Finland. He was born alongside his twin brother Paavo and had another brother, Hannu. He was born to his mom Lisa and father Ilmari. He grew up in the city of Espoo, just west of Helsinki. Growing up there, he played 3 sports and excelled: association football, aka soccer, bandy, which is an ice hockey-oriented game, and of course, hockey being the third sport. His twin brother also played footy and hockey and did pretty well for himself. Undersized as a youth, his physical stature, however, helped him engineer a winning spirit, and eventually, he made it to the Jokerit Junior Club. He had 22 points in 33 games in the 1986-87 season in the Finnish Under-20 League. In 1987-88, he truly broke out with 43 goals and 23 assists for 66 points. He won a silver medal at the European Junior Championships, scoring 7 goals, 9 assists for 16 points in 6 games, leading the tournament in scoring. And he led Jokerit to the Finnish Junior A-League Championship. It was this that caught the attention of NHL scouts. After Swedish players started arriving in the NHL back in the 1970s more and more, and especially in the WHA, the European invasion was starting to happen. The Finns soon followed suit as the 80s commenced, as Oilers icon Jari Kurri became the first Finnish superstar in the NHL. A few Czech players, mainly the Stasnys, made storied defections. And with the Iron Curtain about to fall, the influx of European players making their way into the NHL was about to become enormous. While Finland wasn't a communist nation, the ever-changing game, the ever-changing world had scouts looking overseas more and more every year. And scouts were paying attention to this Finnish sensation by the time the 1988 draft came about on June 11, 1988. The first 9 picks of the draft were quite the draft class. Future Hall of Famer Mike Modano was taken overall by the North Stars, while Trevor Linden was expected to change the fortunes of the Vancouver Canucks. Solid longtime players were also drafted, such as Curtis Lusitian, Martin Angelina, and they were taken by the Nordiques and Kings respectively. Pick number 8 for the Blackhawks was an American fellow by the name of Jeremy Roenick. 9th overall was Ottawa, Ontario native Rod Brindamore, taken by the Blues. And the Winnipeg Jets had pick number 10. General Manager John Ferguson knew the Jets' history of scouts, had a good eye for European talents, and this was no different. So indeed, at 10th overall, Teemu Selanne is taken by the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets were really excited to have this highly skilled winger. They knew he wouldn't be arriving in Winnipeg for some time, but it's believed they actually wanted him to eventually have Dale Hawerchuk that is, being working along a highly skilled winger. What impressed scouts the most were the several attributes he possessed, of course. Speed, great acceleration in his skating, dangerous on breakaways and odd man rushes, a great shot release with great accuracy, quickness, and deception, creative at positioning, and a great eye for focus and tremendous stick handling skills. At the same time, the Jets were coming off a rough season, but they still made the playoffs for the 7th straight year. But things were about to, not get so good for them. Selanne, however, moved up to the 2nd-tier division hockey in Finland, still with Jokerit in the hockey program, scored 36 goals, 33 assists for 69 points in just 35 games, just 1 point shy of 2 points a game. He also played in the 1989 World Juniors Tournament in Anchorage, Alaska, but Finland had a rough go finishing 6th, but Selanne still caught attention with 10 points in 7 games. He finally graduated to the Elite League in 1989-90, played in 11 games, but scored 12 goals. Selanne was also not just focused on hockey, however. He attended a business school for 2 years, and even became a kindergarten teacher, and completed his mandatory military service for Finland. The Jets were indeed focused on letting Selanne develop more in his homeland, but the organization was starting to become a mess under general manager Mike Smith and coach Bob Murdoch, and they actually missed the playoffs in 1991. They'd also lost Dale Hawerchuk. Now they were desperately trying to get a new franchise player. And the near 21-year-old, the Jets wanted him badly in a jersey by next season. However, Selanne was thriving with Jokerit. In 1990-91, he had 33 goals, 25 assists for 58 points in 42 games. He won the Raimo Kilpo Trophy for sportsmanship, good behavior, and quality performance for his team. He was also named to the League All-Star team. That year, he also represented Finland at the 1991 World Ice Hockey Championships, which was hosted in his home country. He had become a star in Finland, and the media attention in the country was immense, and the crowds absolutely adored him. And his teammate was the big hero in his country, and Selanne's personal hero, Jari Kurri. Finland finished 5th, but Selanne called it a thrill to be a teammate of Kurri's for an entire tournament, and he had an excellent showing with 11 points in 10 games, tied for 3rd in the competition. Before the start of the 1991-92 season, where the Jets were trying oh so hard to get him to sign a deal, he did represent Finland at the 1991 Canada Cup. In the tournament's history, Finland hadn't played overly well whatsoever. However, they looked the best they ever had on paper going into this tournament. He was again teammates with Kurri and another Finn who had made a huge splash in the NHL, Pesky Esa Tikkanen. Finland fought to a 2-2 tie with mighty Canada. In the next game, a shutout win over Dominik Hasek, Jaromir Jagr, and the Czechs 1-0 with a last-minute goal. Selanne made a beautiful setup on that lone goal as well. But after getting crushed by the Sylvia 6-1, where actually Selanne had the lone goal, they rebounded with a 3-1 win over Sweden. In a tough, hard-fought game with the Americans, they lost with a couple minutes remaining 4-3. However, their record of 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie got them into the playoff round for the very first time in the history of the tournament. In the semifinals, they again faced Team USA, but were throttled 7-3. It wasn't his best hockey, but, Finnish hockey was moving into the next tier as they've worked so hard to do. In the 1991-92 season, as it commenced for Jokerit, Selanne was rolling and his team was responding around him. But then, he had another huge chance to represent his country at the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France. Remember, players active in the NHL were not yet eligible, so Selanne could play, and he exploded out of the gate with 2 goals and an assist, 3 points and a 5-1 win over Germany, then a goal and a helper and a 9-1 dominant win over Poland. They then dropped a 4-1 loss to Team USA, but our hero assisted on a go-ahead goal to make it 2-1 against Sweden, but they'd have to settle for a 2-2 tie in that one. He then played another beauty with a goal and a helper and a tough 5-3 win over Italy. They made it to the medal round, but were crushed 6-1 in the quarterfinals by the unified team, which was of course made up of Soviet players. Finland finished 7th overall, but Selanne's 11 points were tied for 4th in tournament scoring. He was still making waves back in his country. With Jokerit, he had a total of 33 goals, 29 assists for 62 points in 44 games. Then came the playoffs. 10 games, 10 goals, 7 assists, 17 points, and led them to their first Finnish Elite League championship since 1973. He was named League All-Star once again as well. Meanwhile, however, back in Winnipeg, the Jets had an improved season under a new head coach, John Paddock. They had a winning record and returned to the playoffs. But they weren't the only team now knocking on his door. The Jets' failure to sign him allowed him to be a restricted free agent, which allowed other teams to make offers. But either way, it was official. For the 1992-93 season, Teemu Selanne was at last coming to the NHL. Well, what a pro career in Finland. League championship win in 92, League All-Star 2 years in a row in 91 and 92, award for sportsmanship in 91, and representing his homeland proudly for the 91 Worlds, 91 Canada Cup, and 92 Winter Olympics. In total, during 3 seasons in the Finnish Pro League, he scored 76 goals, 56 assists, for 132 points, in 97 games. The man becoming known as the Finnish Flash is truly about to make his presence felt. Well, the Winnipeg Jets' history is one I have described in detail when covering the career of Dale Hawerchuk as well as their abysmal 1980-81 season. After monster success in the WHA in the 1970s, thanks to Bobby Hull and the influx of new Swedish pros making their way to North America, they won 3 AFCO Cup championships. They entered the NHL in 1979-80 after the merger after the WHA folded, of 4 new teams joining the league. The Jets were terrible. They were actually the worst of all 4 clubs. They didn't do well in the expansion drafts, and their regular picks weren't stellar. Poor John Ferguson had a lot to deal with. Their first season was pretty damn bad. Their next season in 1980-81, which again I covered on this channel, was truly pathetic and abysmal. Just 9 games they won all year. Check it out here on the channel. One of the worst seasons in NHL history. But there was a silver lining that allowed them the first overall pick in the 1981 draft, and they took Cornwall superstar Dale Hawerchuk. They encountered a huge surge with their new star, one of the biggest turnarounds in NHL history, with a 500 record in 1981-82, a playoff berth, and hope for the future. The problem was, despite Hawerchuk becoming an icon in the Peg, the team itself just could never get it together long enough. Just many obstacles were thrown in their way. They did have an excellent year in 1984-85, but let's keep in mind they were also in a division against the Oilers, so that's a pretty big factor. And the Flames actually started to progress past them. General manager John Ferguson was dismissed. Mike Smith took over. The team was losing its community feel, as a fan on my channel actually commented, and looking into it further, I totally agree. Despite the devoted following, many feel Smith and Coach Murdoch had truly destroyed a lot of the heart of Winnipeg. The Jets missed the playoffs for the first time since 1981 in the 88-89 season, but they rebounded in 89-90, returning to a winning record and returning to the playoffs. But again, Hawerchuk's storied departure after that season cast a really dark cloud. They missed the playoffs in 1990-91, and in 1991-92, again, John Paddock as the head coach, as I mentioned, they rebounded. But at this point in their history in the NHL, they've only made it to the second round twice. The last time was 1987. But now the Calgary Flames had come knocking on Selanne's door as well. I covered them a fair bit in the My Bio series on the likes of Joe Nieuwendyk and Lanny McDonald. In 1989, they had won their first Stanley Cup and had a stacked lineup. The problem was they had 2 more great seasons following, but were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs each time. In the 91-92 season, they had a hugely disappointing year, missing the playoffs for the first time since they moved to Calgary back in 1980. Matter of fact, the last time they missed the playoffs, they were in Atlanta back in 1975. But the offer they were giving Selanne was 3 years and $2.7 million. That was more than double what the Jets were offering. However, due to still having his rights and due to Selanne being restricted, the Jets do have a chance to match the offer. And they weren't known for going for salaries that high, but lo and behold, they shocked people and did it. Teemu Selanne is headed to Winnipeg. He will be a Jet. The media coverage was actually quite extensive. Nobody got this much hype for putting on a Jets jersey since Dale Hawerchuk. After looking good in training camp, he was ready for the 1992-93 NHL season to fly in as a new sensation. But even Jets fans, even the ones who knew he would be a big deal, could not have expected what was about to come. And here we are, October 6th, 1992, Winnipeg Arena. Winnipeg, Manitoba. The Winnipeg Jets will open their season at home in front of a packed house at the famed arena, and Jets fans are eager to see what their new star will do, as the media attention is all over the Finnish phenom. Standing in their way, however, is a team among the favorites to be a Stanley Cup contender, who finished first in the Norris Division last season, but suffered more playoff heartbreak. I'll talk about the Detroit Red Wings. Well, Selanne is of course in the lineup, but who is joining him on this Jets team that he is part of? Well, on today's game, rookie defenseman Sergei Boltin, fresh off an Olympic gold medal, sophomore center and Richmond Hill native Luciano Bersato, veteran defenseman and Jets icon Randy Carlyle entering his 17th and final NHL season, another rookie who also won an Olympic gold medal, Evgeny Davidov, at right wing. Chris Draper, a call-up from minor league Moncton, has yet to play a full season with the Jets, but he has 13 games experience. Reliable grinding winner John Druce making his debut for the Jets after 4 seasons in Washington. Gritty veteran forward Mike Eagles. Fan favorite goaltender Bob Essens that gets the start. It's his 5th NHL season and 3rd as the team's #1 starter. He's coming off the best year of his career. All-star defenseman Phil Housley, one of the best scoring defensemen in the league of his era, enters his third season as a Jet and 11th in the NHL. Reliable handed defenseman, 8th-year pro Mike Lawler, one of the most grossly underrated defensemen in the league, and Selanne's fellow countryman Teppo Numminen. Another excellent blue liner entering his 7th season in Winnipeg, the ever-popular Frederick Olofsson. Reliable veteran forward Eddie Olczyk, who was the Jets' leading goal scorer last year. Another call from Moncton and hometown boy Russ Romanuk. Winger Darren Shannon, and one of the most popular players in Jets history entering his 12th season, Thomas Steen. Also entering his first official rookie year, who showed some promise in the 17 games he played last season, American-born Keith Tkachuk at left wing, a physical, nasty, no-nonsense power forward. Yet another Olympic gold medalist, also making his NHL debut, Moscow, Russia native Alexei Zhamnov, who indeed will be the playmaking centerman between our hero and Tkachuk. Some people actually criticize Paddock for putting these three very different style rookies together. But as the saying goes, keep your words soft and sweet, because you may have to eat them later. The Red Wings are coached by Brian Murray, who is also their GM. They are led by their fearless captain, one of the best in the game, Steve Yzerman. He's now entering his 10th NHL season, and he's just 27 years old. He's coming off 5 consecutive 100-plus point seasons, has scored 50-plus goals in 4 of them. Also a rising star, Soviet sensation Sergei Fedorov entering his 3rd season. Not to mention the Wings have acquired one of the best power-scoring forwards in the game, Dino Ciccarelli, entering his 13th season. But how about this defense? Yikes. The man known as the Impaler, Vladimir Konstantinov, a Swedish sophomore by the name of Nicholas Lidstrom, entering his 20th season of pro hockey, and first with the Wings, the great Mark Howe, and the grossly underrated Prince of Plus-Minus, Brad McCrimmon, entering his 14th season, plus future All-Star Steve Chiasson and Yves Racine. In net, Tim Shovelday, coming off a career year with 38 wins. On paper, this looks like the Wings' game, but we shall see. And now, it's game time. The Jets faithful are psyched, but the Wings aren't wasting time trying to put pressure on Essenza. But it didn't take long for it to happen. Coming out of their zone, Selanne has a hook. He hits a nice pass to Zhamnov, who sees Tkachuk near the net, and he scores! Just 4:50 in, less than 5 minutes into his NHL career, Teemu Selanne has his first career NHL point. The Jets lead 1-0. Steen added the goal later in the period to give the Jets a 2-0 lead after 1 period. Winnipeg then took a 3-0 lead just over a minute into the second, but the Wings broke the shutout bid, and the game was 3-1 after 2 periods for the Jets. The third period begins in 3:20 in. Selanne begins a rush, using that stride and puck handling skills, gets the puck to Tkachuk. He can't get it, but Phil Housley does! The Jets take a 4-1 lead as Selanne has a second assist and point of the game. They indeed hang on to win it 4-1, a huge triumph to open the season. When the game's 3 stars were named, Teemu Selanne got a tremendous reception from fans when he was named the game's 3rd star with his 2 assists and a +2. Linemate Tkachuk was the 2nd star, and goalie Bob Essenza took the 1st star with a huge 39-save night. Selanne is quickly gelling with his line mates and the rest of his team, but now begins a 3-game road trip. And the first game of that road trip takes place 2 nights after his debut, and they go all the way to San Jose to face the sophomore Sharks led by, future Hall of Fame defenseman Doug Wilson and Sandy Zozelinch, I guess. And this team is not just up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, they're without a boat. The Jets struck early, but the Sharks tied it past the midway point of the first period. However, as the period was winding down, the Jets were on a power play. Tkachuk controlled the puck, luring the penalty killers, then back to the blue line of Housley, who's looking for his man, and guess who finds the space? Teemu Selanne! Open! He snaps it home past Jeff Hackett for his first career NHL goal, giving the Jets a 2-1 lead. It happened at 16:13 of the first period, in his 2nd career game, on a power play assisted by Housley and Tkachuk. Again, the date October 8th, 1992, the poor goalie, Jeff Hackett, further emphasizing his arrival to the NHL. And fortunately, the Jets lost 4-3 in overtime. Yes, they lost to the Sharks in 1992. Yeah. Anyway, the road trip overall was actually quite a disaster for the Jets, but Selanne was thriving. He scored a goal in a 6-3 loss to the Gretzky-less Kings team. However, he was playing against his idol, Gary Curry, who schooled him that night with a 2-goal game. Then on a Canadian Thanksgiving Day, a showdown with the powerful Canucks, the Jets were completely embarrassed, 8-1. Selanne, however, assisted on the lone goal, while another European sensation, the Russian Rocket, Pavel Bure, decimated the Jets with 4 goals and an assist for a 5-point night. Well, that was a terrible 0-3 road trip. They were outscored 18-7. Hey. But thankfully they returned home for a game against the Edmonton Oilers, another division rival. Gone were the glory days of their Stanley Cup years. They had now become quite the mediocre club, but they did bolster such talent as Shane Corson, Bernie Nichols, Peter Klima, and another Finnish star, Esa Tikkanen. Edmonton, however, has yet to win a game this season. Game gets underway and it looks good early on, 4 minutes in as Brasado gives the Jets a 1-0 lead. Then on a power play, Housley and Olsen are keeping control of the puck near the blue line. Phil slides it to Freddie, and Selanne has created space. Big mistake by the Oilers. He scores! And the Jets take a 2-0 lead at 9:07 of the first period. Then later, an errant puck control play from the Oilers leads to the stick of Selanne. He skates it on tug nut. Oh, he stands no chance. The Jets fans are flying into their seats, and he goes in on goal. He scores a magnificent slalom. The place goes bananas. The replay is shown over and over and over, and what a play it was. His second goal tonight, his fourth of the year, and he has given his team a big 3-0 lead. The Oilers got one back to cut the lead to 3-1 after one period. But then the Jets took a 5-1 lead in the second. The Oilers got two back again, cutting the gap once again to a 2-goal deficit to end the period. The Jets led 5-3. Then in the third period getting underway, the Jets begin on a power play. Selanne sees Olsen open, feeds in the puck, then sets up Kachuk. And Selanne assisting on the goal, his third point of the game. What a night. And the Jets lead 6-3 with just 24 seconds into the third. What a game our hero is having. Then on the power play, however, just after Selanne himself was serving a penalty for being involved in a bit of a brouhaha, he is back on the ice. Philly boy controls. Freddie boy takes the wheel. And he drives it up to Teemu. Hat trick is complete. Wow! Winnipeg Arena is shaking to its core. The hats come flying onto the ice. Selanne is all smiles. His teammates are overjoyed for him. So are the fans. Teemu Selanne, first career hat trick, a pure beauty. And the Jets win the game 7-3, ending their 3-game losing streak. And hey, it's really no surprise Selanne is named first star of the game and given a huge standing ovation for the Winnipeg faithful, who seem to be already crazy about their new superstar. Olsen, however, played magnificently with a goal for assists for 5 points. A huge game for him, was named second star, while Phil Housley garnered 3 helpers and was named third star. The highlights of that lone goal, the unassisted solo effort he made, were shown over and over on sports networks, including the Sports Network, TSN, all across the country. 5 games in, and he's on a tear. October 14, 1992, mark it down. That's his first career hat trick, 2 goals on Ron Tugnut, and a third on Bill Ranford. So indeed, yes, Teemu Selanne begins his career on a 5-game point streak where he amassed 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points, close to 2 points a game, and is a +2. And at a time where jerseys were actually starting to sell in all sports in general, Selanne jerseys are becoming harder and harder to find, especially in Winnipeg. His point streak, however, came to an abrupt end in another humiliating loss to the Canucks, 6-2. And that loss to the Canucks began yet another 3-game losing streak. However, Selanne did score a beautiful solo effort to open the scoring in a 5-4 loss to fellow rookie Eric Lindros and the Philadelphia Flyers. He then had a goal in a 5-3 loss to the Wings. The losing streak was broken, however, in a 4-2 win at home over the LA Kings, and with the insurance marker on a power play, Selanne had another. He was a beast as the Jets' power play indeed took hold. He had a goal and a helper and an extra man advantage in a big 6-2 win over the Washington Capitals at home for their first back-to-back wins of the season. On October 28th, the Jets readied themselves to face division rivals the Calgary Flames for the first time this season. The team is off to a good start. This is the team who tried to sign Selanne away from Winnipeg. Fleury, Neuendijk, Roberts, Makarov up front, and on the blue line, McInnes and Suter. Backup goaltender Jeff Reese gets the start in net. The Flames did strike first as Makarov scored a goal to give them a 1-0 lead. However, just over 2 minutes later on the power play, Steen gets it to Olchuk, who finds Teemu, his 10th goal of the year already, and it ties the game for his Jets. However, another goal from Makarov and a power play marker from Suter gives the Flames a 3-1 lead after 1. It went from bad to worse. The Flames then led 6-1 after 2 periods. The Jets look completely dead in the water. However, to start the third period, you could hear a pin drop in the Winnipeg Arena, but they weren't ready to give up, and our hero was determined. 4:35 into the third. Olsson scoops the puck up to Teemu, who goes in the Calgary zone, and he finds Eddie Olczyk to stir up the Winnipeg faithful just a little bit, cutting the lead to 6-2. But time was ticking down and hope was fading fast. As the midway point of the period was approaching, but this time it's Shannon who gets the puck to Selanne, who sets up Olczyk again, right at the dead 10-minute mark of the third. And the Winnipeg crowd seems to be a little more jazzed, a little more excited as the gap is cut to 6-3. They trail. A 3-point night for Selanne so far. And these Jets fans are really getting behind their team again. But Fleury scores and Calgary leads 7-3. And again, the arena is silent. The Jets, however, get a power play chance. Shannon gets the puck, finds an open Selanne, but he can't get the goal. But he gets it back to Olsson, who scores. The arena wakes up again. The Jets now trail 7-4, 3:22 remaining. Selanne is playing a huge game, 4 points, but time is ticking down. The Jets find themselves on a power play, pull their goalie for the extra attacker, and of course Teemu is out there. Olczyk can't find anybody in the opening, but he slips it back to House at the blue line. He waits. Selanne's open, he passes the puck, he scores! The arena erupts in joy. His second goal of the game, 1:12 left, his 5th point of the night. An epic game for our hero, but that is as good as it would get for the Jets. The Flames hang on for a 7-5 win. Despite this loss for his heroics, keeping his team in the game, and despite tough odds, his 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points, got him first star of the game, and was treated to a hearty reception from his fans. They definitely appreciate his commitment to this club. The Jets would lose again to end October on Halloween, losing to Joe Sakic, Matt Sundin, and a very revamped and improved Quebec Nordiques team. Selanne had an assist in the loss. He scored all but once in October, totaling 20 points in 11 games, 11 goals, 9 assists, literally a goal a game. November, well, that was a terrible start for our hero. 3 games, all losses, bringing Winnipeg's losing streak to 5. 4-11 they now sit, no ties. Dead last. Selanne had no points and was a -7 in this 3-game stretch. He didn't play too bad against the Habs. He fired in a lot of shots on Habs backup goalie Andre Rasico, but couldn't get any points in a top 2-1 loss. They were embarrassed by the Oilers. Yes, 6-1 at home, -3, and then yet again against the Canucks, 6-1 as well. Selanne on -4, where he took some very harsh criticism for making some terrible plays in that one. But back home against the Kings, Selanne assisted on an Alexei Zhamnov goal, but the Jets trailed 4-2 after 2, and looked like they were about to drop their 6th in a row. Time was winding down, and the groans of frustrated Jets fans can be heard. But then they say that a hero could save us. Selanne takes a loose puck. He goes in all alone on Kelly Hrudey. He scores. The Winnipeg Arena wakes up from their collective bored-as-ass comas. 5:38 to play. This motivates the Jets to press and press and press further, and Olczyk ties it with 7 seconds left. The Jets fight for the tie, but they're still winless in 6. But once again, Selanne is on dem highlight reels, and he breaks his slump with a goal and a helper. But now the Jets begin a 4-game road trip, and they're currently 0-8-0 on the road. Not good. They begin, however, playing against the Minnesota North Stars, who look decent so far this season, and of course are led by Selanne's 88 draft class valedictorian, first overall pick Mike Modano. And other talents join this team such as Russ Cortnell, veteran playmaker Neil Broughton, and defensemen Mark Tenorti and Craig Ludwig playing that traditional style. Now, game time. Both teams have a good chances early, but just 5:23 into the game, Selanne makes a nice play, setting up Igor Ulanov, his first goal of the year, and the Jets lead 1-0 early. But just 51 seconds later, the Stars made an so terrible move of letting the puck fly loose in Selanne's vicinity. He goes in on goal. The Stars fans cling to the bottom of their seats, hoping a save can be made. But no sirree, Bob! Another huge solo effort from Selanne. Already his 2nd point tonight gives his boys a 2-0 lead. And the producers at TSN, well, they're definitely smiling. The Jets make it 3-0 after a goal by Bersato, and that's how the first period ends. The Stars do get on the board, however, to start the second period, cutting the Jets' lead to 3-1. But just 1:14 later, Newman in clears the puck. Zhamnov going in on goal with Selanne, and Teemu scores the 2nd goal of the game. Jets take a 4-1 lead. 2 goals by Mike Eagles give the Jets a 6-1 lead. The Jets are looking absolutely superb here. Best they've looked all season, it seems. Time is running down in the second period, and Selanne finds little use of Russ Romanek for his first goal of the year. 2 seconds to play in the frame. 7-1. Winnipeg up. Wow, and a huge game again. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4-point night. The Jets would go on to break their 6-game winless streak with a huge 7-2 win. Their first road win of the year, breaking their 8-game losing streak away from home. And once again, surprise, surprise, he's named first star of the game. In addition to his 4.9, he was also a +4. This was definitely a much-needed win for his Jets, starting this road trip right. And a big 3-point nights for Eagles and Brosado, who would named second, third stars. And quite a huge shock, this road trip actually ended up going very well for the Jets. They'd lose the next game, 4-2 to the Blues. Our hero was pointless, and put to school by fellow winger and superstar Brett Hull. Then it was a visit to the expansion Lightning in Tampa Bay. It was quite the exciting game, tied 5-5 late. With 4:26 to play, Newman feeds up with the Zhamnov and sets up Selanne, the winning goal, 6-5 win. And he then got a goal and a big road win over the Red Wings, 5-3. The Jets go 3-1-0 on this road trip, getting some momentum back on their team. Teemu had 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points, was a +4 on this trip. Then began a 3-game homestand and did not start well at all. Selanne played absolutely brutal in a 5-4 loss to the Rangers, pointless in a -3. He did have an assist, however, in a 3-3 tie with Pierre Turgeon and the Islanders. But he once again showed his clutch abilities in a game against the Sharks. It looked like they were going to have the dubious distinction of losing to the Sharks twice this season. As they trailed 2-1 with time winding down, but Selanne was streaking down the ice. Newman sees him. He launches the puck in number 13's direction. Selanne has the puck. He shoots the puck. He scores with the puck. Ah, yes. He ties the game with 2:27 to play. The arena gives nuts. And then just 1:29 into overtime, he sets up Thomas Steen for the game winner. Is there anything this kid can't do? The first 2 months of his career have been a wild ride already. While he didn't quite equal October, who cares? He's clearly the best thing the Jets have going right now. In October, as mentioned, he had 11 goals, 9 assists for 20 points in 12 games. It was -5. Those are still insane numbers, however. In November, he still averaged a point a game, despite a rough 3 games to start the month, with 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points, and a -3 in 11 games. 31 points in 23 games. Excellent. Well, when it came to preseason odds and predictions for who would win the Calder Trophy this season, Eric Lindros of the Flyers seemed to be at the top of the list. But Selanne's game is now coming up more often in the conversation. But there are many who still feel Lindros will take it. To start December, he was pointless, but he played well in a 3-3 tie with the Flames on the road, and then he scored a goal in a heartbreaking 3-2 loss to the Habs in overtime, but he had another beautiful solo effort. Once again, the highlight reels are burning up with Selanne's face and style at least once or twice a week. Then it was a trip to Pittsburgh to face the mighty Penguins, the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. It'll be Selanne's first game against not just Mario Lemieux, but his European counterpart at wing, Jaromir Jagr. The Jets were dominated 5-2 as Lemieux, Jagr, and another star forward, Ronnie Francis, each had a goal and 2 helpers for 3 points. But again, our hero was the highlight for the Jets, notch both a goal and an apple. Then on December 11, 1992, the Jets made a trip to the nation's capital to face the Washington Capitals, who after a rough start have definitely picked things up and are in the midst of a 5-game winning streak. Up front, they are led by the likes of team captain Dirty Dale Hunter, as well as swift goal scorer Peter Bondra and efficient setup man Michel Pavonka. On defense, they were led by the man with the devastating shot, Ali Afraidy. It was bad early. The Caps took a huge 3-0 lead, just 6:21 into the game. The Jets looked aimless out there. Cue our hero. After Kevin Hatcher is called for holding, the Jets go on, you guessed it, a power play. Shannon to Zhamnov, the man who creates space. Mr. Selanne scores his 20th goal this season already and gets the Jets on the board. They now trail 3-1. But the joy was short-lived. The Caps scored 20 seconds later and restored their 3-goal lead at 4-1. But as the period is winding down, the Jets refuse to give up. Steen gets the puck out to Shannon, who gets it to Teemu Selanne, his 2nd goal of the game, and cuts the Caps lead in half, 4-2. But the Jets trail 5-2 after one period. It's looking pretty bad. But just 40 seconds, into the second period, the puck is loosened. Big mistake, Caps. Teemu has the puck. The fans in the Caps Center have a terrified look on their face as he skates in on Herdnack, and he scores another beautiful solo effort, his 2nd hat trick of the year. Wow. Notch another one for the highlight reels, and he keeps his boys in the game. They now trail 5-3. As the second period goes on, the Jets are still fighting to keep closer. But they're on a power play. Selanne keeps the puck alive, sees Steen, then finds Housley at the point and drives it home. The Jets not only trail by a goal, Selanne has his 4th point of the night. Need an assist to go with his hat trick. 5-4 would be the score after 2 periods. That's about as good as it would get. The Jets lose 8-6. Hey, it's even come to a point where a reporter in Winnipeg said that if not for Selanne, this Jets team would not be worth writing anything about or watching even. He was named third star of the game behind Cap stars Bondar and Pavanka at second and first respectively. The Jets, however, would break their 4-game winless streak, a win on the road over the Islanders. Selanne played very well with a goal and a helper in the 4-3 overtime win. They returned home and scored another 4-3 win, this one against a pretty good Devils squad. His goal that game would prove to be the game winner. And then the Jets hit the road again. They were actually crushed by Roenick, Larmer, Chelios, and the Hawks 5-1, but actually got a tight 1-0 win over the St. Louis Blues. He was pointless in both those games. And the Jets came back home, and awaiting them were the shitty Sharks, who entered the game at 5-27-1. Yes, this makes the Sharks of recent years look like the '84 Oilers. And they're coasting on an 11-game losing streak. But the Jets have lost them once this season, but they did win their last meeting. Both games went to overtime, which shall happen here. The game gets started and both teams are pressing, but just over 8 minutes in, Steen to Olchuk to Teemu, his 25th goal of the season, and the Jets lead 1-0. But the Jets start to crash. They give up 3 goals in just under 5 minutes. 2 of them are shorthanded. Ouch. So now the Jets trail 3-1 after 1. But in the second period, the lineup Brosado, Eagles, and Tkachuk teamed up for 2 goals to tie the game in the second. But it is power play. Selanne holds at the wing, finds Keith on the opposite side, centered for Zhanov, who scores. Selanne's second point of the game gives his Jets a 4-3 lead, and they take that into second intermission. The Sharks, however, tied the game early in the third, and time was starting to tick down later. Selanne began a play that led to the stick of Numminen that leads to a goal for Zhamnov with 4:21 to play. The Jets take a 5-4 lead, and they hang on to win. Teemu gets his 3rd point of the night. And once again, Selanne's 3-point night gives him one of the 3-star honors. He's named a 3rd star behind line mates Zhamnov and Tkachuk. The next 5 games to end the month went as such. Our hero went a -2 in a rough outing in a loss to Calgary. He had an assist, but another rough game in a loss against the Stars. But then a 3-game winning streak came happening. Back home, they got back at the Stars with a 7-4 win. Selanne with 2 goals and was named 2nd star of the game. And then he clocked in a goal and an assist in a thrilling 5-4 win against Ray Bourque and the Big Bad Bruins. And then on New Year's Eve, he assisted on a Phil Housley goal on a 3-2 win over the Edmonton Oilers. Solid way to end the calendar year of 1992. In the 5 games to end the month, he had 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points, and a -5. Selanne so far, however, has played in all 37 games, has garnered 28 goals, 22 assists for 50 points, and a -9. And now his name is coming up more and more, however, for Calder Trophy talk. But so has Joe Juneau of the Big Bad Bruins, who's played 37 games himself, is actually 1 point up on Selanne in the rookie scoring lead with 51 points, and actually has a big +14. But the man who is favored in the preseason to win the Calder, Eric Lindros, has had injury issues, but still has amassed 33 points in 25 games and is a +11 on his below-average Flyers club. However, now the rumblings were starting. Some saying that Selanne could break Mike Bossy's record, the Hall of Famer and New York Islanders icon of rookie goals in a season of 53, set back in 1977-78. So 1992 is over. But it's about to be a very happy new year for Teemu Selanne. To begin the new year on January 2nd, 1993, Selanne scored 2 goals in a 2-2 tie on the road against Scott Stevens and the New Jersey Devils. That included another beautiful solo effort, and that gives him 30 on the year. He's also named 2nd star of the game. However, he was pointless in a loss to Chicago. But what happened next, you may ask? Well, next was a trip to Calgary against the powerful Flames, who are actually riding a 10-game unbeaten streak. They also hadn't lost at home since November 28th, but our hero scored the opening goal and added an assist in a huge 4-2 win. He then finally went up against Gretzky, who was just in his 2nd game back this season as the Jets hosted the Kings. The Great One had 2 goals, but so did Selanne, who also had 2 assists. A monster 4-point night and a big 6-3 win for the Jets. Our hero was named 1st star of the game. He then scored another goal and an assist in a thrilling 3-2 win over the Penguins. He was 3rd star of that one. The Jets have now won 3 in a row and our hero was rolling. Then it was the shitty Sharks. He had a goal and 2 helpers for 3 points. 4-1 win. 1st star honors. The Jets are flying. And further up they go. A trip to Edmonton also proved to be beneficial with another game of a goal, 2 assists, 3 points, and another first-star honor. The Jets have now won 5 in a row. Selanne is leading the way to their tremendous success, and he scored the game-winning goal as well as an assist in a power play in another win, this one 5-2 in Los Angeles once again against the Kings. He was named second star. Then it was a game in Saskatchewan as the Jets took on Pat Verbeek and the lowly Whalers. It looked as if our hero's point streak and the Jets' winning streak was about to come to an end. The Jets were down 7-4 after 2, but began to launch a comeback. Trailed 7-6 in the third, but our hero came up in the clutch and scored a huge goal to tie the game. Just over 7 minutes left, and the Jets went on to win 8-7. 7 wins in a row. And their luck against Chicago finally changed, with the game tied 2-2. Selanne made a beautiful setup to Shamrock, give the Jets a 3-2 lead after 1. He then assisted on a Freddie Olsen power play marker in the second to put them up 4-2. And then added an empty net goal with 8 seconds left to give the Jets a 5-2 win. A goal, a 2 assists, a 3 points, a first-star honors. The Jets have now won 8 in a row, a new team record, breaking the 7-game winning streak they had in 1984-85, which was their best season in their NHL history at this point. He scored 9 goals, 11 assists for 20 points in this win streak, and was a +9. That's 2.5 points a game. And oh man, the hockey media was eating it up, and I mean that in a good way. Selanne was becoming a city sensation in Winnipeg. It wasn't just jerseys now, t-shirts with his likeness, mugs, pin buttons, and posters were selling like hotcakes. The Jets' winning streak came to an end, and so did Selanne's point streak. However, that didn't mean they lost. They still remain unbeaten after a thrilling 4-4 tie with the Flames. Selanne then assisted on a Thomas Steen goal in an 8-5 win over Edmonton. 10 games unbeaten, and overall 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points, a +6, still about 2 points a game. The Jets began a road trip, and their lucky ways came to an end in a 5-2 loss to the Rangers. Our hero was pointless, as the Jets were just 1 win or tie shy of their record 11-game unbeaten streak, which was actually set the year prior in 91-92. Selanne ended the month strong, however. He assisted on both goals in a 6-2 loss to the Bruins, but he helped the Jets rebound with a goal and a helper in a 6-3 win over the Whalers. The Jets had actually had to settle for a tie with Ottawa. Yes, in 1993. But Selanne had a goal in the 4-4 tie. He then had a goal in a 4-2 loss to the Blues. On February 6, 1993, the NHL All-Star Game took place in the Montreal Forum, and Selanne was indeed selected for the first time, but 2 of his Jets teammates joined him. Star defenseman Phil Housley is playing a 6th All-Star Game, while special commissioner selection Randy Carlyle, who's been out of action most of the year, got to play in his 4th and final midseason showdown. Representing the Campbell Conference, they were throttled in the game 16-6, but Selanne did set up Jeremy Roenick to get them on the board in the game, and then idol Yari Curry and Oilers defenseman Dave Manson set up our hero for a very nice goal. Dating back to the loss to Boston on January 28th, Selanne began an 8-game point streak, but the Jets went 1-6-1 on that stretch. Highlights were 2 assists and a really bad 6-2 loss to McGillney, Howard Chuck LaFontaine, and the Sabres. 2 goals in a 6-2 loss to Hartford. And they would lose back-to-back games to the Sharks. Yes, lost back-to-back games to the Sharks in 1993. He had a goal and a helper, respectively, in the 5-3 losses. His streak ended in the 4-2 loss to the Canucks, and the Jets have now lost 6 in a row and are winless in 7. But they did actually triumph over Ottawa on February 22nd. And they did so again, trashing the sucky Sens 8-2, but lost 7-4 to the Canucks. Selanne had a goal in each game. And with 62 games down and 22 to go, the hockey media was paying a lot of attention to this youngster. He was closing in on making history. The Jets were preparing to host Minnesota to end the month. Selanne at this point had 47 goals, 40 assists for 87 points. He is now tied with Dale Hawerchuk with the second most goals in a season in Jets history at 47 in 1986 and 87. The team record is 53, which Dale notched in 1984-85. And speaking as such, 53 goals is still the record held by Mike Bossy, the Islanders Hall of Famer, as he and Flame star Joe Nieuwendyk are the only rookies to score 50 goals in a season. Nieuwendyk did that in 87-88. I've covered him on this channel. Jets fans have been holding up signs counting down the chase to the record, and the news is watching his every move. So on February 28, 1993, they host the Minnesota North Stars. The Winnipeg Arena is red hot with anticipation. Will our hero get closer to the record tonight? It's an intense affair early on. But Steen gets the puck out to Bunton and sets up Teemu Selanne, number 48 on the year, and the Jets strike first and take a 1-0 lead, 8:53 into the game. The game was tied 2-2 after one period as the Stars are putting up a fight. The second period gets underway and it's tightly knit as neither team is giving up much of anything, but Dallas starts to pressure Essenza. However, Ty Domi has the puck and he finds its way. Well, and again, Teemu heading down in on goal. He scores! Goal number 49 with 3:14 left. The Winnipeg Arena is going nuts. They're in deep anticipation and believe he can hit number 50. Oh, wow. And the Jets then go on a power play, and 2:09 after the last goal, it happened. Steen controlled the tempo of the extra man advantage as they fought to maintain control, and Olsen was in on this as well. And he gets the loose puck in front of the net, and he scores! There it is! Goal number 50! The second Jets player in history to do so, and now the third rookie in NHL history to achieve the 50-goal mark, and his third hat trick of the year. The Hats indeed hit the ice, and the fans are still cheering loudly as play continues. Jets end up here leading 4-2. The Stars brought themselves back within a goal early in the third period, trailing 4-3. But 1:41 later, Housley makes a great pass to Selanne, who breaks through two Stars defender. He goes in on goal on Darcy Wakaluk. He scores his fourth goal of the game, number 51 of the season. That ties Joe Nieuwendyk for second best total all time in rookie goals. The Jets lead the game 5-3, and they would indeed keep control of the game going forward and win 7-6. And when Selanne was announced undoubtedly as the game's first star, the ovation he received was thunderous. Indeed, the man is the blood pumping the hearts of the fans in Winnipeg this year. March 2nd, 1993. Winnipeg Arena, once again. And opposing them, the Quebec Nordiques. A team that had been an absolute laughingstock for about 5 years, but this year, they're anything but. Led by superstar forwards Joe Sakic, Matt Sundin, and Owen Nolan. A defense led by Curtis Lusician and Adam Foote. And in net, backup goaltender Stéphane Fiset. Tickets for this game were red hot, with scalpers charging hundreds of dollars. While Selanne would need another hat trick to break the rookie goal scoring record, fans are now going to flock to every home game going forward to watch their hero attempt to make history. Could tonight be the night? Well, it's game time, and Selanne is out there to start the game, and the Jets fans are downright excited. Just 15 seconds into the game, after the Jets win a faceoff in their own zone, Housley takes the puck, makes a big long pass up the ice to Selanne, going in on goal. No one on him. He scores, number 52. The electricity in the Peg is at pure high voltage, and the fans feel great about what is happening early on here. However, the Nords took a 3-1 lead in the second period, and the arena was starting to get quiet. But that was until just 38 seconds after Kovalenko's goal. Selanne is parked behind the net. He waits for the feed. He gets it wrapped around. He scores! Teemu Selanne has now tied Mike Bossy's rookie goal scoring record with his 53rd goal of the year. It is pure pandemonium at the Winnipeg Arena. They feel history is going to be made not another night, but tonight here at the arena. Will that be the case? Tkachuk's power play marker tied the game early in the third period. Every time Selanne gets the puck or is even near it, the crowd go crazy. And at 9:16 in the third period. Well, let's let Kirk Kilbeck take it away.
Pearson cut in at the net and was knocked down. Now Domi flips it high. Selanne goes after it. Teemu Selanne breaks it. He scores!
As the famous sign read, 52, 53, 54, Bossy's record is no more. Teemu Selanne, NHL record for goals in a season by a rookie, and does so by getting his second straight hat trick and fourth of the season. Insane. And of course, who can forget that amazing celebration as our hero removes one of his gloves, throws it in the air, uses his stick to mimic the rifle shot. A truly unforgettable and amazing moment the history of professional hockey. Fans who were there that night, I've heard testimonials from them, will never forget it. The magic of it all. Neither will any of those watching at home for that matter, or listening on the radio. Domi's pass to Selanne streaking in on net as Facette tries to challenge and ends up sprawling as number 13 nearly loses control of the puck but still slides it in to make it happen. This moment is why to this very day, Teemu Selanne is an icon of the city of Winnipeg. The Jets took a 4-3 lead on this historic goal, but they would collapse and actually lose 7-4. But that was not the story, obviously. Due to his amazing night, he was named first star, but showered with the loudest cheers of his career. The storybook path of Selanne in his rookie year has truly been one to behold. Setting the record in true epic fashion, back-to-back hat tricks again, 7 goals in 2 games. And with that, he also sets a franchise record for Jets goals in a season. But here's what's crazy. There's still 20 games left. What more will our hero do? Selanne continued to roll as the Jets took a trip to Edmonton and triumphed 5-3, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, first star honors. In 3 games, he has garnered 9 goals, 2 assists for 11 points. My goodness. More than 3 points a game. He's also +6. After back-to-back losses to resurgent Toronto and Buffalo, where Selanne was pointless, it was time to take a trip south. And March 9th, 1993, the Jets fly into Tampa Bay to take on the expansion Lightning, led by star forward Brian Bradley, as well as defenseman veteran Rob Ramage, and number 1 overall draft pick Roman Hamrlik. The Bolts led 1-0 after 1 period, but just 13 seconds into the second, loose puck. Big mistake, Tampa. Selanne goes in on Wendell Young. He scores. The game is tied 1-1. Notches another one for the highlight reel. Late in the period, Keith Tkachuk makes a nice setup. You guessed it, number 13, Teemu Selanne, his second goal of the game. His 100th point of the season. He becomes just the second Finnish-born player to reach the mark. I'm pretty sure you all know who the first is by now, being Jari Kurri. He did so 6 times. He's also the third Jets player in team history to reach the mark. Dale Hawerchuk done it 6 times, and Paul McLean had done it once. The Jets led 3-1 in the third period, and Selanne had a golden chance but was hauled down, and that resulted in the first penalty shot attempt of his career. And he's one of the best one-on-one players in the game this year. And Selanne took the puck, went in on a goal, made a beauty of a move, and he scores his first penalty shot goal of his career. And hey, yet another hat trick, his 5th of the year, once again just weaving that magic. And of course, he was named first star of this game as well. The Jets win at 4-2, and yet again, this begins another chapter of his rookie season that is truly storied beyond belief. He becomes just the 4th rookie in NHL history to reach 100 points in a season. His 101 points passes Mario Lemieux 1984-85 for 3rd best of all time. He's just 2 points back of Dale Hawerchuk, 103 points in 1981-82. The record is held by Czech superstar Peter Stastny, who scored 109 points with the Quebec Nordiques in 1980-81. After the victory over the Bolts, Selanne had an assist in a heartbreaking 3-2 loss to the Canucks at home. Then at home against the Bolts, he became the 3rd European-born player to reach 60 goals in a season, as he had 2 in the game, bringing his total to 61. The first was Jari Kurri, did it twice, and Alexander Mogilny, who literally did it February 24th on this season. And Russian sensation Pavel Bure of the Canucks will accomplish that feat this year too. He also passes Dale Hawerchuk, reaching 104 points, 2nd best now all time among rookie scoring. He scored a goal in a toughie for a loss to the Kings, but the Jets finally got the best of the Canucks after losing their last 6 games, and our hero got a goal in the 5-2 win on the road. Then it was a win over division rival Calgary, 4-2. Selanne, 2 goals. The Jets are showing life approaching the postseason. March 23rd, 1993, they were set to host the revamped Toronto Maple Leafs, who after many years of hardship are having an amazing year led by superstar forward Doug Gilmour, who has changed their fortunes, gritty captain Wendell Clark, power play powerhouse and goal scorer Dave Andrechuk, and on defense Jamie McCowan leading the way, and in net this game as backup and former Sabres All-Star Darren Pupa. The Jets trailed 2-1 during the second period after Chris King got the Jets on the board finally. 1:34 later, on the power play, Hasley to Olsen to Teemu. His 66th goal of the season, his 109th point, tying Peter Stastny's record. The crowd at the Peg go bananas, watching their hero making history once again. And 38 seconds later, the Olympic line is out on the ice. Zhamnov, Tkachuk, and Selanne. Teemu starts to play. Tkachuk continues. He sets it up for Zhamnov, and he gets the assist. 110 points on the season. Another NHL record for number 13. Our hero would add another goal to give the Jets a 4-3 lead in the third, giving him 2 goals and a helper for 3 points on this night, but they would ultimately lose 5-4. Nonetheless, Selanne was again named first star of the game, as the adoring Winnipeg fans showered him with chants of Teemu, Teemu, Teemu. This year just keeps getting more and more crazy with accolades and milestones for Teemu Selanne, but the season still ain't finished. After the loss to Toronto, the Jets rebounded and Selanne had a goal in a 4-2 win over the Blues at home. Then hosting Gretzky and the Kings after being down 2-0 in the third, our hero scores a big goal 7:20 into it. To finally get his boys on the board, the Kings took a 3-1 lead with 7 minutes to play. Selanne scores his 70th goal this season. Insane. Set up by Zhamnov and Steen. Then 5 seconds to play in regulation. Selanne to Tkachuk to Zhamnov. The Olympic line ties it. And indeed, they take the point, a 3-3 draw. And now our hero is in the Elite 70 goal club, one of 8 players in NHL history to reach the mark. Gretzky has done it the most, of course, 4 times consecutively between the 81-82 and 84-85 seasons. Brett Hull has accomplished the feat the second most 3 times. He's actually done it in the last 3 seasons before this one. Super Mario, the magnificent one, Mario Lemieux, accomplished this twice in both the 87-88 and 88-89 seasons. The first to do it was actually Hall of Famer Phil Esposito of the Bruins in 1970-71. Yuri Curry again became the first European player to do so. He did so for the Oilers in 1984-85. Bernie Nichols, while always an excellent hockey player, actually stunned the hockey world, reaching 70 goals in 1988-89 for the Kings. Alexander McGillney of the Sabres accomplished this just a mere 8 days before Selanne did. And our hero becomes the 8th player of this elite club to reach the remarkable feat. And again, he's a rookie. And yes, okay, semantics. I know that he has experience in Finland, but to even accomplish this in your first NHL season, that is out of this world. Selanne continues to roll. He ended March with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points and a thrilling 5-4 win over the Flames. He's now on a 10-game point streak as he now approaches yet another franchise record, and here it is. With 7 games remaining, Selanne has 71 goals and 47 assists for 118 points, is now sitting as 3rd best for a Jets single-season points total in their time in the NHL. Howard notched 121 points in 1987-88, and the team record is held by him with 130 in 1984-85. Can Selanne get at least 12 points in the next 7 games to tie the record? Well, in just 1 game, he's already passed the 2nd best mark. 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, and a 9-5 win against the 10-win shitty Sharks. That puts him at 122 points. Then it's 3 assists and a 6-4 win over Edmonton. 2 for Zhamnov, 1 for Domi. 125 points he now sits. His point streak hits 12, and in the last 4 games itself has had 13 points, just above 3 a game. He then had a goal and an assist against the Flyers in a 4-2 loss, then scores his 75th goal of the season in a 5-3 triumph over Toronto. Then an assist in a 7-5 win over Edmonton. His point streak has now reached 15 games, and his season total is 129 with 2 games to go, just 1 back of Dale's team record. And hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning, Selanne teams up with Housley to assist on the goal for Zhamnov. The Jets lose 5-3, but now Selanne is tied the Jets franchise record for most points in one season with 130. 1 game remains. Can he do it? Well, the final game of the season is April 15, 1993, hosting Edmonton one last time for the year. And 5:25 into the second period, Olsen sends Selanne in a goal, and there it is! His 76th and final goal of the season, his 131st point, setting the new franchise record. He had an assist to make the record 132 in a 3-0 triumph. What a way to end the season. A 17-game point streak in the final 17 games of the season. In that stretch, Selanne had 20 goals. That's 1.2 goals a game. He added 14 assists, totaling 34 points. That's 2 points a game. Was a massive plus 13. And on top of that, the Jets went 11-5-1 in that stretch. Sonny was instilling a winning attitude for his team. And indeed, the new Jets record holder triumphantly helps his team finish with a solid record of 40-37-7 for 87 points. This is actually the first time the Jets have reached 40 wins since the 1986-87 season. And this is actually the final season for the divisional playoff format, where the top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. And indeed, the Jets did finish 4th in the Smythe, although Edmonton was not really a threat, and the Sharks sure as hell weren't. 1 point back of the 3rd place Kings. And now our hero experiences a whole new avenue of NHL hockey, as it is indeed playoff time. And indeed, awaiting the Jets in the first round is the first place Vancouver Canucks, who finished with a record of 46-29-9 for 101 points. Their best regular season ever in their 23-year history. These two have only faced each other once before in the playoffs, and that was last season, where the underdog Jets took them to the 7th game before losing. They again were the underdogs this year, as Vancouver was being led, of course, by coach/GM Pat Quinn, had been building into a contender for quite some time. The Canucks were normally strong on special teams, but they scored the 4th most goals in the league and gave up the 6th least. The Canucks dominated the Jets this season, as Winnipeg went 1-6-0 against them, but the one win was their most recent meeting. Let's see who makes up this awesome Canucks club. Well, leading the way is our hero superstar counterpart, the Russian Rocket, Pavel Bure. 60 goals, 50 assists for 110 points, missing just 1 game all year. 5th in the league in goals. His awesome plus 35 was 5th in the league as well. His 40 even strength goals were 4th best. And he led the league with 7 shorthanded goals. Remarkable. 7th in game-winning goals with 9. He was 10th in offensive point shares with a 9.7. Despite this, no votes for any awards. The Canucks had a fearless and skilled two-way leader holding the captaincy by the name of Trevor Linden. The Canucks rebuild began with him being taken 2nd overall in the same draft class as Selanne in 1988. He has evolved into a versatile and clutch forward, and this year has scored 33 goals, 39 assists for 72 points, and played in all 84 games. Also a great year from the Little Giant, Cliff Ronning. Career best 29 goals, 56 assists for 85 points in 79 games. He was also a plus 19, a warrior with heart game in and game out. Also on this forward court, Jeff Cornell had a great year. Peter Nedved scored 38 goals. Greg Adams and Dixon Ward made the 20-plus goal mark, the latter a plus 34. Also featured Murray Craven, Sergio Momesso, and veteran Tim Hunter. Leading the defense was pugnacious and sometimes downright nasty and brutal Dana Murzin. In his 8th NHL season, he proves to be a brute force out there game in and game out, but makes tremendous toughness and adds a great presence. He was also a plus 34, tied for 7th best in the league. Also on this blue line core, veteran all-star Dave Babbage, a former Jet no less. Jyrki Lume had an excellent year. Canucks longtime fan favorite Doug Lidster is also on this core, while Gerald Diduck was also tremendous. And between the pipes, the awesome Kirk McLean, another key component that the Canucks built around. With his unique stand-up style, strong lateral movement, and one of the quickest gloves in the league, he is a force out there. He did have a few struggles this season, but eventually shook them off and finished with a record of 28-21-5. His wins were actually 10th best in the league. His 3.38 goals against average may not have been what people expected, as with his .886 save percentage, but he did have 3 shutouts and was 6th best in the league with that category. Well, here we go. Game 1, April 19, 1993 at Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. Teemu Selanne's first NHL playoff game. But it doesn't go well. The defense has his number. He only gets 1 shot on goal. It's a -1 in the 4-2 loss. Game 2 isn't looking much better. The Canucks take a 2-0 lead in the second. The Jets cut the gap to 2-1 after 2. In the third on the power play, Selanne controls the puck on the wing, gets to Housley, who sets up Newman. Brings it home. The game is just tied 30 seconds into the third period. But Bure's game winner gives the Canucks a 3-2 win and a 2-0 series lead, and our hero is taking a bit of flack from the media. Game 3, we are in Winnipeg, and the fans are still psyched to believe in their boys. Tkachuk gives the Jets the first goal of the game early on, and then power play. Shannon keeps, Housley takes, and hey look, there's Selanne! He scores his first goal of the series and gives the Jets a 2-0 lead. The Canucks get on the board late in the period, But 128 later, power play, tick, Shannon, tack, Housley, Teemu Selanne. His second goal of the game with 3 seconds left on the first, no less. The Jets lead 3-1 after one. The Canucks, however, fought to tie it on 2 Trevor Linden goals. It was 3-3 after 2. In the third, Brasato's shorthander gave the Jets the lead back, and then near the midway point of the period, Shannon sends in Selanne on McLean. He scores the first playoff hat trick for our hero. The Jets lead 5-3 and hang on to win it 5-4, and they are now in this thing, trailing the series 2-1. Call, and he shall answer. Selanne is indeed the first star of this game and gets yet another monstrous ovation and adoration from those who adore him in the peg. Another huge night for number 13. Game 4 is the opposite, however. Kirk McLean owns our hero on this night, who had 7 shots on goal, none went in. He went pointless, was a -2. The Canucks win at 3-1 and also lead the series by that same margin. And the Jets are on the verge of elimination, heading back to Vancouver. Game 5, it looks bad early. The Canucks lead the game 3-1 after 1 period. Then in the second period, just past the midway point on the power play, Teemu back to Housley, out to Geek, who scores. The Jets trail 3-2, however, after 40 minutes. Shannon actually ties the game near the midway point of the third, and we are going to overtime for the first time in this series. The Jets control the puck thanks to their defense. Mike Lawler started with it. Now Olsen's maintaining control, and he makes sure to get it to Teemu Selanne. He scores his first career playoff overtime goal. The Jets win at 4-3 and are still alive, trailing the series 3-2. Way to step up in the clutch. It's 6:18 into the extra frame. Once again, he answered the call. Game 6 back in Winnipeg, and fans are psyched. It was a seesaw battle. The Jets kept taking a 1-goal lead, but the Canucks kept tying it to the point where it was tied 3-3 at the end of regulation. We are going to overtime. Can Teemu be the hero? No! As a matter of fact, it was Greg Adams of the Canucks, and Vancouver takes the series in 6 games. In the end, the Canucks were just simply the better team. But with his hat trick, they kept the Jets from trailing 3 games, and his big OT winner in Game 5, Selanne at least showed he could thrive under playoff pressure and come up in the clutch. He had 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points, and a -3. But either way, the Jets' survival in this one, making it to 6 games, was ultimately down to him, as well as Phil Housley, who our hero was second to in scoring in the series. Now let's take it back to that historic regular season. Teemu Selanne, rookie season, 76 goals, 56 assists for 132 points and played in all 84 games. But who was it that helped him along the way? Well, let's see, defenseman Phil Housley, like he did for many years top forwards in Buffalo, did so in Winnipeg. He assisted on 25 of Selanne's goals. That's just under a third. And the two collaborated for 13 assists in total, teamed up to produce 46 goals together. Wow. The veteran blue liner definitely helped the youngster thrive. But then there was Alexei Zhamnov, the playmaking center, who did have injury issues this season, but Selanne set him up 16 times. That's all but 9 of the goals that Zhamnov scored that year, as he scored 25. Together they teamed up for a whopping 42 goals. And there's a lot here who deserve credit for Selanne's year. Thomas Steen, he really helped Selanne's game evolve, setting him up for 15 goals. Also, Darren Shannon and Teemu had great chemistry, clicking 24 times. He also had great chemistry with blue liner Freddie Olesen, and he and Tkachuk clicked quite a bit to boot. A lot of people were helping each other out along the way here in Winnipeg. Selanne's 132 points was tied for 5th. Yes, 5th in the NHL, along with Islander superstar Pierre Turgeon. 21 players reached 100 points that year in this storied 1992-93 season. But the only ones ahead of our hero are the likes of Steve Yzerman of the Wings, Adam Oates of the Bruins, Pat LaFontaine of the Sabres, and the league scoring champion Mario Lemieux. Yeah, I'd say our hero's in good company. But just take a look at this list one more time. Does it really get much better than this? And Selanne actually had to share the lead in goals, and you might have guessed by now that he shared it with Alexander McGillney of the Sabres with 76. And they each share an NHL record with most goals in a season by a European player. And another first record, that is, the first rookie to lead the NHL in goals as a Selanne. He holds that one on his own. And again, here he is among the heavyweights and tops all of it. He also led the entire league in even strength goals with 52, edging out McGillney, who had 49. Selanne, again, at the top of the mountain among a league of powerful players in this category. And he can also get it done on the power play, as his 24 extra man markers are tied for 5th best with Luc Robitaille, Adam Oates, and Pierre Turgeon. The Jets had the 8th best power play in the league, thanks in large part to Selanne and Housley. And yet another category our hero fits in. That's hat tricks. He had 5. That was the second most in the league, as McGillney led the league with 7. Solanne's hat tricks were epic, as he used all one to set the historic rookie goal scoring record. And lastly, he made it to number 3 in offensive point shares with a rating of 12.2, just barely out of second place with McGillney, who beat him by 1/10 of a point. Once again, an incredible list with many one-of-a-kind talents. And now, we go to award season. And... Was there ever any doubt by the end of this season? Teemu Selanne is indeed the 1992-93 Calder Trophy winner as the league's top rookie, absolutely crushing the voting with a total of 250. Runner-up Joe Juneau had 75, while the second runner-up, third place Felix Potvin, goalie for the Leafs, had 63. Selanne is the first Jets player to win the award since, Dale Hawerchuk in 1981-82, and he would actually be the last in the history of the franchise, even after the move to Arizona. Look at this. Selanne came in 10th place for Lady Byng Trophy voting for excellence in sportsmanship, garnering 6 votes. It doesn't stop there. He actually garnered 5 votes for the Hart Trophy as league MVP, coming in 6th place, as he was just one of the 9 players to get votes. What an incredible achievement. But he was then rewarded in kind with being named a first-team All-Star at the right-wing position, edging out McGillney in voting. Once again, among elite company with future Hall of Famers Mario Lemieux, Luc Robitaille, Ray Bourque, Chris Chelios, and Ed Belfour. Well, what can you really say that hasn't been said already? Not only was it one of the best rookie seasons in NHL history, it may have been one of the best seasons in NHL history by an individual player, period, when you add up all the stories and context. Count them, 4! 4 NHL records. Goals by a rookie in a season. Points by a rookie in a season. And most goals by a European player in a single season, and the first rookie to lead the league in goals. None of those records, as of 2025, have been broken. He led the league both in goals and even strength goals. It was in the top 10 in 4 other categories, especially hat tricks, and he was also tied for 5th in points. He, of course, won the Calder, was a first-team All-Star, and, of course, all the team records he set for the Jets. For goals in a season, as well as points in a season, since the franchise ceased operations in 2025. And, of course, by that point, they were in Arizona. Selanne's single-season team records were never broken. And speaking of team awards, he was the recipient of the Molson Cup, as you probably guessed by now. It was a top point getter for end-of-game 3-star selections. 6th in Hart Trophy voting, 10th in Lady Byng Trophy voting, finished the season a +8, and played in his first All-Star game. He led the Jets to their first 40-win season in 6 years, helped them set a record winning streak, and had that big unbeaten streak as well, and above all else, endeared himself not just to the fans, but to the community of Winnipeg. He was revered as the new sports idol, maybe idol in general, of the town, filling what some has been a void left behind since the departure of Dale Hawerchuk. And that indeed does it for part 1 of our look at Teemu Selanne. And come on, you'd know I'd have to have just one whole video for that epic rookie season. In part 2, however, we'll look at his continued journey in Winnipeg, which sees some obstacles. Can he overcome them? Well, tune in to find out. Please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I'll see ya!